All right, you know what it is. Welcome to Into Final Space with your host for just a moment, Gabe Jones. I want to first apologize for both my voice because I'm sick, and then my new studio, which currently is in progress of sounding good. So we got some really bad echoes in this, so it sounds like I'm in a cave. But let's just get started. We're on interview pause for just a moment because we are bringing back some awesome folks to wrap up the season. Some people that you've seen before, as well as one very new, exciting interview that I'm super excited to share with you. Somebody completely new. So that's really exciting. Always make sure you're checking out Into Final Space on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with that, as well as always being on the Final Space Discord, always on there. But today I'm giving the reins to a guest host because today, to celebrate my 3,000 listeners, thank you so much, I am getting interviewed. So let's do it.
Hey, Fantrexians, I'm Jamin. I like to write and draw, and today I'm lucky enough to guest host the podcast for one of my biggest inspirations. Thanks for having me on, Gabe. You ready to answer some questions?
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. Thank you again for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for hosting.
It's a pleasure. So, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So as many of you know, I'm Gabe Jones. I host the Into Final Space podcast. Let's see, what else do I do? I'm also an author, screenwriter, musician, vocalist, as well as a artist, and I do photography. So yeah, that's I do a little run-of-the-mill bit about everything. So jack of all trades.
Oh, that's awesome. And how did you discover Final Space?
So I've been a huge Olin Rogers fan for years. And I talked a little bit about this when I started the podcast, but a friend that introduced me to his comedy, and I was hooked. And then I spotted the pilot after it came out, and I was like, dang, would it be awesome if this was a show? And then they're like, oh, it's a show. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I've just following Olin has kind of led me to this kind of awesome discovery of Final Space.
Oh, very cool. And so what inspired you to actually start this podcast, and how was it reaching out to a member of the Final Space crew for to come onto the show for the first time?
Yeah, what inspired me to start the podcast, the mic that I actually used to record, I picked up to start singing just because I said, why not? And there's a cheap deal on it, and I was like, okay, I'll go grab it. And I got home and tried some, and audio editing is just not my forte. So I gave up on that, and at the time, I had just gotten through the Steven Universe podcast by MK Atwood, and she did a phenomenal job with that. And I was like, well, what if I did a TV podcast? And I was like, well, what shows do I really like? And I came on Final Space, and I was like, I don't think one of these exists. So I looked. Overly Animated did like an episode on Final Space, and I was like, there's not like a solely dedicated Final Space podcast. So I was like, cool, that's what I'll do. So yeah, I picked it up, started, got a cool logo going, and then kind of ended up here.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that's like awesome. One door closes, right?
Yeah,
it's cool. We have a podcast for this show. This community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As for reaching out to a member, it was extremely scary. I remember I was just like, I'm tired of kind of hearing myself speak, so let's see if we can get some cast or crew on here. And I was like, Olin's kind of a long shot. I'm a nobody, but let's see if somebody will be on here. So I just kind of went on Instagram, searched the Final Space hashtag, and started following all these artists, and eventually came upon Q Ma, who was one of my original interviews, and messaged her. I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast for the show, big fan of your art. Would you like to come on the show? And she's absolutely. And I've got a few other artists who would love to join you. So that kind of put together that first gang for the first interview, and I remember just shaking before I interviewed. I was like, these are the people who make the show that I love so much, and they're all incredible. And Tobias Trost, who was the producer, walked in before the episode started, and I was like, oh no. He was like, all of you have signed NDAs, don't say anything. I was like, oh no, I hope I'm not breaking any rules or anything. But yeah, they're great. Me and Tobias got to be good friends and talk some. I always cleared my interviews with him and actually interviewed him. So it's been great, trying to get more and more cast and crew on the show and talk to them and, give viewers another chance to connect with these people who make this incredible show.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, even when the crew is great people, that's probably still very scary to do that for the first time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So this one I gotta ask: season 1 or season 2?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I gotta say season 2. I have to agree with the crew on this one because, I really feel like it's kind of grown into itself. It's starting to really find its voice whether it's the actors or the crew really just putting it there and finding where they're going to do colors, how they're going to animate the scene. Janfield has taken this season and really ran with it. And so, yeah, season 2 is definitely a big one. Of course, season 1 will always be at the heart, but yeah, season 2, I think Final Space is finally finding who it is.
Oh yeah, I can see that totally. Yeah, I can't really go wrong with either, but I think I probably agree there too. So, going off of that, what's your favorite episode?
Once again, hard. I gotta say, the other side from the season was exceptional. The way it was shot and the whole story with Little Kato, and who has been exceptional this season. So yeah, other side definitely is probably way up there on my list. But yeah, a lot of these recent episodes have been really great, and I'm really excited for the season to wrap in these next 3 episodes.
Yeah, so you and Olin both have the same favorite. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he picked a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely is a good character this season. And this is okay. Last of the favorite questions now. Who's your favorite character?
Once again, gotta go Little Kato. He's been through so much, and he's always got this kind of resilience to him. And I'm a big fan of Stephen Yeun anyway. He's an incredible actor. I watched Walking Dead a while back. So yeah, Little Kato is definitely my favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't really say any answer that wouldn't be valid.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, I guess our final question now. So after meeting and talking with so many fans and even Olin himself and other members of the Final Space crew, is there any piece of advice you'd like to give the audience about pursuing their passion?
Yeah, absolutely. I would never have been here if I didn't step out on a limb and try something new. And then, of course, never being afraid of hearing the word no or never getting a response back. Because that's always kind of what kept me from getting to my goal of, trying to. I was like, should I message this person? It's likely they're never going to message me back. I'm just a guy who really likes the show, who wants to bring something else to the community. So yeah, just really never being afraid of the responses no. Because I worked and got to where I was because I was okay with not getting a response back from somebody. So yeah, definitely pursue your passions even if there's an obstacle in the way. Just go after whatever you love.
Yeah, I think that's advice worthy of Olin himself right there. It's pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's pretty amazing what you built here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's so awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and answering these questions. It was great getting to learn more about you and your experiences as a fan of Final Space. And I hope this wonderful community only grows as we get hopefully even more seasons.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for being my guest host today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, it was strange being on this side of the mic, but thank you all for 3,000 listeners and for giving me this incredible chance to talk about this show that we all love and bring you connections to these people who make this show that we all love. I hope you enjoyed getting to know a little bit about me. Thanks to Jamin for his great interview skills. I've got another great host I now know if I ever need one. As always, follow me at Into Final Space on Instagram and Twitter. I'm once again apologize for my voice and the horrible acoustics that we have here. I'll see you next time on Into Final Space, and thank you guys so much.